Hey guys, needless to say, I did a little bit of testing on getting the perfect and simplest almond-free, gluten-free, high-protein keto cracker possible, and I finally figured it out. So, let's get started. Hey everyone, welcome back. If you're new here, thanks for joining me. My name's Alycia, and I'm a pastry chef with a sweet tooth, and now I own a keto gluten-free bakery. And I'm here to show you all the tips and tricks on how to make the best recipes possible. So if you enjoy my recipes, please hit the subscribe button down there, give the video a thumbs up, leave me comments, and share with all your friends and family. It all helps me and my bakery grow and to bring you new videos every Saturday. Today, something I've been missing for a while. I know a lot of people on keto love their charcuteries with the cheese and meats and all that stuff, but I always miss the crackers and stuff like that that go along with it. And there's not a ton of good options online. I do like high-key crackers, but they are almond flour and they're over double the price of these crackers we're gonna make today. I wanted to create one that was almond-free for those people that are allergic to nuts, and I wanted to figure out kind of a high-protein one also. So let's get started on this pretty simple recipe. So the recipe starts with 1 egg white, 30 grams. I usually weigh it just so that I get the same outcome every time. I did try this with whole eggs. I did try this with no eggs. I tried it with egg white powder because I was sick of unfortunately wasting my egg yolks because my bakery is separate from my kitchen. If it was the same, I could just throw them in, some scrambled eggs for my son and, that would be it. But because I'm only down here certain days a week, I put them in a container. I end up being like, oh, I'll use them, and then forgetting. I even tried using it to brush the crackers to get the seasoning to stick, and it really didn't make a better cracker, and it cut down on the evenness of the cracker baking. So my eggs have all been widely different. That one was bigger than normal, so I went with 32 grams, which should be fine. Within a couple grams is fine. You just don't want 10 extra grams of a liquid in there. Oh, and my oven's already preheated to 350. This is one of those recipes that I would get it all together and it's super fast. I'd forget to turn on my oven. So it's already on 350. I did this experiment down here in the bakery and up in my home kitchen. And in my home kitchen, 375 was a better temperature. This oven cooks a little bit quicker than the one upstairs, so just keep that in mind. If you have a powerful oven, 350. If you have a little bit less powerful, 375. Next is just some water and butter, 28 grams or 1 ounce of butter. Then a 1/4 cup of water or 2 ounces or 56 grams. I just weigh it out, so it's always the same. And what I do is I try to get hot water and melt my butter that way, because if you throw it in the microwave, it tends to get hotter than you want it, and then your dough is kind of stickier than you want it to be. Give that a whisk together just to get your butter melted. I did try this with all butter, all water, and this is the best combination. So I did so many tests. I literally tried to make this the simplest recipe possible, and every time I minus something, it didn't turn out as good. That's how it usually goes with keto recipes. Next is the dry ingredients, which is only 4 and then salt. I got this idea from my bagel recipe because when I boiled my bagels longer, the outside got kind of crackery. So it's very similar to the ratios and ingredients in my bagel recipe. I did 1/2 cup or 40 grams of an unflavored whey protein isolate, but that is taking a 1/2 cup, scooping it up, and leveling it off. I haven't worked with protein concentrates, but I think they'll be fine. The thing that's nice about this is that it's 0 carbs. So it makes these crackers really low carb and pretty high protein. I did try to swap that out for the egg white. Was not good. Just egg white powder is so styrofoamy when you try to bake with it. And normally I use egg white protein for crispy recipes, but only in very small amounts. And a lot of those recipes have more coconut flour than egg white protein. Now you may be thinking coconut flour sounds weird in a cracker, but it actually doesn't taste much like coconut. I use the Great Value brand organic coconut flour, and I don't think it tastes that much like coconut. But also I tried using bamboo fiber, which is what I've been doing for a lot of my recipes, especially like my bagel recipe. Bamboo fiber in crispy things gives a powdery texture. I couldn't put my finger on it why I didn't like it in some of the recipes I did swaps with, and a friend of mine definitely nailed it on the head. She said, I don't like powdery keto crackers. And then I used the bamboo fiber and it was powdery. This with the coconut flour isn't powdery. I actually tried even less coconut flour and it tasted better with a little bit more, because I think the protein powder is what can give you a powdery feel to it, but coconut flour is so absorbent, it actually is kind of like a half cup of whey protein, even though it's only 2 tablespoons, because it just absorbs so much liquid that it kind of overpowers the whey protein. So 2 tablespoons, which the back of the package says 15 grams for 2 tablespoons. I have never found that to be the case. Even if you like pack it down and level it off, I always get 6. If that's the case, then it should be 2.5 tablespoons. That's why I just always weigh things, because you never know. That was 16. I have scales linked to my Amazon, super cheap, and in the long run, it's gonna save you money. Okay, then to that, we add our xanthan gum and gelatin. 1 whole teaspoon of xanthan gum. If it's not leveled off with your finger and just shooken leveled off, it should be 4 grams. Then gelatin, I always get different measurements. Sometimes 2 teaspoons, I'll get 8 grams. Sometimes I won't. That was only 3. 6. So 2 teaspoons should be a half. That only brought me up to 7. So I added a little bit extra in there. Now we're at 8. And that is grass-fed beef gelatin. That's the Now brand. So I do have that linked in my Amazon too. That's what I use. And the last thing is salt. If you want to not add any salt to the top, you may want to add a little bit more salt to the recipe, but I'm going to add some toppings to these crackers. 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and that's it. Give those guys a whisk together. You want all the xanthan gum and gelatin distributed in there. Now, I whip up the egg white a little bit just to break up the proteins in it. And then I put down, these are clean, they just don't ever come completely clean. Add in your butter and water mixture. Okay, and then add in all your dry ingredients, which is when you switch to your spatula. You can use a hand mixer at this point to get it real thick, or you can just beat it with your hand a little bit better. That coconut flour does take a little bit to absorb, and xanthan gum, I found if you mix it more, it'll get stiffer. The gelatin, once it cools down, it gets stiffer. So let's give it a good beat. Make sure all your dry ingredients are in there. Saw a clump in there. Don't want clumps. That's it for now. We're gonna let that sit while we get our equipment ready to roll this out. Now, one of the hardest things with this recipe that I kept trying to figure out different ways to get like the best even thickness for this, which is the hard part with crackers. We're not an automated system, you know, we don't have, you know, all the equipment and everything. So I went through a lot of different things to figure out the best way to get the even thickness. I ended up using this rolling pin, but it didn't come with all the different bands. I didn't have an 1/8 or a 1/16, which is what I wanted to try, so I ended up buying separately. But the one linked on my Amazon page, it's only $10 and it comes with the bands you need. So definitely will have that linked below. It's the easiest way to get the most even thickness you can on this. Every once in a while, give this a stir. It's getting real gloopy and thick. It's really hot in here, so might not cool down much. It's up to 78. Then the other thing you need is 2 pieces of parchment paper and a lot of oil. You want a pan that is a half sheet pan. These are linked to my Amazon too. They're what every professional kitchen pretty much has for half sheet pans. And the Reynolds sheets that come like folded in like squares fit those perfectly. So now yesterday with my last test, I tried getting around the whole spraying both parchment paper. I sprayed one, set the other one on top and like smushed it around. Bad idea. Just oil both of them because I had little pieces here sticking there and there. It was annoying. Spray it down really good and wipe it from edge to edge, because you never know what direction your dough is going to go in. You want to keep it in a rectangle, but it almost never happens. And then you end up getting little pieces of dough stuck here and there, and it's really annoying. I'm going to do the same thing with the other piece of paper. Another tool that comes in handy but isn't necessary is a bench scraper. Believe me, I tried to make this the easiest possible. It's probably not anywhere near, yeah, still 85. Gelatin starts gelling at like the low 80s, high 70s, so as you go and spread this out, it will stiffen up a little bit more on you. Just try to pile it in the middle. You can try to get it into somewhat of a rectangle. If you're gonna touch this dough at all, make sure you have really oiled fingers. It is very sticky. Still probably will stick to you. Give it a little spray. It's already setting up. You want to try to keep this in somewhat of a rectangle. It does get a little unruly, but either way, you're going to have good crackers. It just might not be perfect little squares. Put it on top. Try to line it up with the other paper. I tend to just start with my hands so that it's easier to keep the shape I want. You also want to try not to have any air bubbles in there, but it tends to happen still. Before I got these bands, I did a lot just by hand, and I did about to 14 by 11, but it's so hard to get it even. You think you have it even with your hands, and it's still not. So that's why I suggest the rolling pin, just because it just makes it more difficult when you go to cook it, but they were all still edible. Okay, so we want to make sure we don't go too far in this direction. Make sure you don't go off your cutting board or any surface you're using, because then you end up with really thin stuff somewhere. Okay, so I can go a little bit more. Oh, did I even say these are 1/8? I don't know if I said it. Okay, and we're almost out to there. We kept it relatively even. I think it's a little bit thick over here just because I don't know why. But it looks thicker, right? Every once in a while, if you want, make sure it's unstuck. You tend to get wrinkles in the paper on the underneath side. And air pockets, air holes. It almost looks like a Cheez-It. I might have to do some more experimenting with that. If you have holes, I want to cover them up a little bit. So we got air pockets. This is where you can use your bench scraper. So if you have air pockets, tend to go thinner there and push it out. And that's how you end up not having a square or rectangle. It's gonna taste good. Just might not bake as evenly, which is what I'm going to show you how to bake this. The best way to get all of it cooked nicely and crispy and all that. I'm going to call that good. We're going to have some weird crackers on the end here. Put that on your sheet tray. Make sure it's flat. Now you add your seasonings, which I'm really annoyed. I can't find my molten sea salt. I had it on my spice rack and I'm like, I never use this. So I thought I took it upstairs, but I cannot find it. So I really wanted that. Finally a recipe I could use it on, and I don't know where it is. I have this garlic pepper. It has red bell and black pepper, and I think it has a little bit of salt in it. Yep, garlic and salt. So this adds a little bit of saltiness to it. You can also do everything bagel seasoning. I'm just gonna do half with this and half plain. This makes it really yummy. Maybe a little bit more than half. And then we're gonna put it in the oven for 7 minutes. And the biggest thing with this is just getting it all cooked and dried out. So it is a lot of in and out of the oven to get it cooked right, cut it and all that stuff, and to get every piece nice and crispy. So you don't have to be perfect on rolling it out. You just gotta be more diligent on taking crackers off that are done, because if you leave them on too long, they get kind of hard. I'll meet you back here and I'll show you the next step. I forgot to tell you, keep your sheet of oiled parchment paper So at this point, you're gonna put this over it. Carefully, if you don't wanna do this, use like tongs or something to grab the other sheet. Then 5 more minutes. And then we'll be back to cut us some crackers. Okay, it's been 5 more minutes. Now I don't use any real measurements here. I just kind of wing it. So the hardest part is not touching your hand to the sheet tray when you're going to cut it. You don't need to cut them all the way through. Just make sure you got them at least scored. It's actually almost easier if you don't cut all the way through, because then when you go to do this side, they tend to move on you. You can also go back and go like this so that you don't have to go all the way down. I did try taking it off the sheet tray and doing it on the cutting board and then transferring, but because it's so much easier to cut that way, you end up cutting through all of them, and then it's really hard to get it back on the tray without them all falling over. So I'm gonna take these 2 out. One more cut there. Make sure you rotate every time, because like as you can see, it's much darker here. If I were to put this in again this way, this would probably be darker again. So I'm rotating it again this time. 5 more minutes, and then I'll pull that out and we'll see if we can pull any of the crackers off. Okay, oven's about to go off. I'm gonna turn it off and we're gonna take off what we can if there's any that are done. Okay, so like ones like this, done. And this is where I kind of break them up a little bit if I can. If they're not almost cooked, they won't break easy. I think that's the only one that was really done, but I'm going to spread them out a little bit. Sometimes I turn them because like you see the outside ones look a little bit darker. You can kind of feel them with your fingers. They're a little bit soft still. Okay, now that the oven's off, 5-second increments. We're going to keep checking them, pulling off ones that are done. It should only take 2 or 3 times, depending on how even you got your crackers. Okay, 5 minutes is up. There you go. And this ensures that just nothing really over bakes. Like these are all done now. Whew. They're not completely hard until they're completely cooled, but ooh, hot. Ooh. Most of these are done. I need a couple more seconds. I'm just gonna give it 5 more minutes in still and off oven, and they should be good to go. Okay, another 5 minutes. I think these are all good to go. So they can all chill back here on my rack and cool completely, and then we'll give them all a taste. I'm excited to have more crackers. Okay, it's time to have some crackers. I realized I'm like, I need dip. So I got some holy guacamole from upstairs. These are our whole batch of crackers. So this whole batch is 3.5 ounces. This cost me $2.70, so not too shabby. This is one thing I might, I don't know, maybe package. I don't know, we'll see. I've been eating the hell out of these for like the last 2 weeks. Garlic pepper is definitely the way to go. They're so crunchy and delicious. Like I've been eating them just plain, even like not even dipping them in anything. So crispy, crunchy, not a ton of like powderyness. There's a little bit of graininess. That's what's the offset. It's like the bamboo fiber is powdery tasting. Coconut flour gives a little bit of graininess. So, but so does almond flour. You know, I feel like almond flour is more grainy than coconut flour. So, but that's just my opinion. You can always do 3 times the amount of almond flour if you want. My husband said the ultimate test, I just pulled this out of the refrigerator, is dipping it into something as hard as a block of cream cheese out of the refrigerator. So I'm going to show you. I'll even take full cracker. And it does not break. They're so yummy. Best thing, let me get a scale. So this is 3.5 ounces. I divided it into 3 servings between 32 and 33 grams. So that was 15 and 17 crackers per portion. And these guys are kind of big, like some are bigger than others. It's 4 total, 3 fiber, 1 net carb, and 17 grams of protein in a serving. So you can feel not so guilty about eating your crackers. And they're so good. I'm so excited to have more of these. And a perfect batch. So I have a lot of imperfect batches back there. These taste delicious. So I hope you guys enjoy this recipe as much as I and my family has been enjoying it. I have a mother-in-law that's celiac. I got people that do keto, low sugar, and all that stuff. So they've been enjoying these crackers over summer party season here. I hope you guys enjoy too. Let me know down in the comments below if you give them a try and how everybody enjoyed them. What are your favorite dips? I do have one that I want to work on from a subscriber. It sounds pretty delicious, so let me know what your favorite dips are down in the comments below. Don't forget to check out my Amazon shop page. The link is down in the description box below, along with the blog link to the full recipe. Give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't already. As always, I'll be back with more keto, low carb, healthy meals, desserts, and snack recipes. Bye guys. Happy keto cracker making!